the way, Clark is spelled without an E. He said, okay, Professor. And I said, no, I'm leaving tomorrow to go to Vancouver to see some sick people. However, I want you to read that book because, Bill, I had a hell of a time with it. I sat up all night reading it after I got it, and my intellect is saying, no, this is garbage. And down in my heart, it's saying, yeah, she's got it. Well, curing the bile duct cancer for my friend shortly after proved me that Dr. Clark had it right. So I said, I'll call you, Bill, when I get back. I want to know what you think. When I got home, my wife and I went in the house. She switched on the answering machine, and the very excited Bill's voice was saying, Doug, as soon as you're back, call me. I got something exciting to tell you. So I grabbed the telephone, phoned him. He answered the phone. And he said, you know, that book's right. That Dr. Clark has got it, man. She's just thrown 85% of the materia medica that we've been taught at university right into the toilet and flushed it down the river.
Dr. Clark, I'm a family doctor with 15 years experience. I've been studying traditional Chinese medicine, and I'm qualified in acupuncture. And I'm also a member, I've been trying to be a Baha'i for 25 years, so I have tried to have an open, questing mind. I've been appointed to this new Ontario Medical Association Committee for the Investigation and Study of Alternative Medicine. The charter meeting is next week, November 21st. So as an uninitiated believer who was also diagnosed with brain cancer in February, I am asking you basically to tell us as physicians this news in a way that the Western mind can accept it. And I think the gold standard is that prospective, double-blind, randomized control study. Has there been any studies like this done on your work where you've taken a group of people with cancer, given them your treatment, followed them forward, and compared it to traditional medicine, chemotherapy, radiation? This is the kind of stuff that will change physicians' belief systems. And, I'm going to try your program. I haven't started it, but I'm certainly going to try it. So my question is to the physicians in this group, or those who are questing with open minds, how are we to believe your work without that gold standard?
Did you say that you had brain tumors?
I had a brain tumor diagnosed and operated on. There's residual tumor left there.
Well, why don't you come down to Tijuana and see how we do it?
I'd love to.
Okay, but you're invited.
The question is double randomized prospective studies with your work, your treatment, compared to traditional treatments.
Well,
do you have any such studies?
No, there are none. Of course, it's too early. But I have some comments. I think it would be unethical once we can cure some. Once you see the cure in a few cases, it would be unethical to withhold it from others. But those choices won't be made for me. Those kinds of choices won't be made by me. I have in the back of my mind this consideration. We're at third base with it. There is still an area of treatment that is not complete. And it has to do with the extremely ill person or somebody with liver tumors, pancreatic tumors, stomach cancer, and brain cancer, where these very, very important organs have been mistreated to such an extent that they have to be supported. And we don't know how to support them yet. But I think that in the very near future, we will. And if you come down to Tijuana and see the inside of of how these variables are dealt with, you might certainly walk away with your own cure and certainly be in control of it. And that's how much I could promise.
Thank you.
I want you to be cognizant of the fact that any time anybody, anywhere in medical history, brings up a new approach, new information. It's a quantum leap in a direction. Organized medicine will always come up and pose the question to that person, have you done a double-blind crossover study? Well, I want to assure you that there has been an in-depth study done, and more than 85% of what is prescribed daily in average medical practices has never been subjected to a double-blind crossover study.
I wanted to know if there are any updates in information that we should know since the publication of The Cure for All Diseases, such as two things that I've heard. Recently got the impression from what I read that the zapper takes care of things and you don't need to use the herbs. And another thing that I heard, that there's a recommendation of possibly an increase in the amount of, I think it's the black walnut tincture. So I just wanted some clarification on any updates right now.
There is a new parasite program that increases the amount of the black walnut tincture quite a bit. And for persons who are not consistently recovering or who've not had the speed of recovery that we would want, you see it after taking this increased dose. That's not how I arrived at it, though. I arrived at it by trying to answer a question that I posed in the first book. Remember in that page where I have some questions, I said the zapper doesn't reach the bowel contents because electricity of this kind doesn't go through solid matter like that. And the herbal treatment doesn't mix itself thoroughly and kill every last little stage in the bowel contents either. But it was a pretty good method. Certainly you would see the orthophosphotyrosine disappear and a lot of cases cured. So I thought maybe it was insignificant. Maybe those little leftover bits are insignificant. At any rate, we couldn't wait. It wouldn't be moral to wait. I better go ahead. And then when I tried to figure out why some cases failed, I found that the little stages that were recurring in their tumor, you could still see these stages present after you had zapped. It took about 5 hours after zapping, and after doing the original parasite program, you would still see these stages, and I tracked them down to a part of the bowel. Sometimes it would be a diverticulum in the colon, and that's the hardest place to get them. But we've tracked them down, and what it takes is 2 teaspoons of a quadruple strength, and once you've killed them, that's it. You don't have to do it repeatedly. It's a one-time dose, and you get quite, don't like to use the term magical, but quite a remarkable improvement, as a rule, the next day, and they will be the ones to tell you you don't have to observe it. I also, however, did observe that the family members who also carry the stages of this little parasite could reinfect the cancer patient just like that. Handshaking, handling their food, and they don't reinfect them. Others, the healthy members of the family, I saw they were transmitted, but the family member or friend who was picking it up didn't take on them. I couldn't, it would be gone. I couldn't find it on them. Whereas in the cancer patient, you could immediately find it. In half an hour after it was transmitted to them, it was already back in their tumor. So I learned that